In One Piece chapter 1119, Luffy is mercilessly attacked by his own crew. Dr. Vegapunk's message continues, and the Iron Giant breaks the 5 elders. The cover page features Yamato being hit by rocks and heckled by some children for looking like Kaido. We open up to Kaku yelling at Stussy to leave. With his back turned to her, he questioned if she hadn't already seen his response coming. He mocked the idea of them being friends. At the very least, he made his previous respect for her clear since she was such a cutthroat agent. But he knew all too well that nothing would be able to change Rob Lucci's mind about her betrayal. Stussy was sobbing as she tried to respond, but Kaku loudly cut her off, again telling her to just go. When she finally did, Kaku did his best to hold back his true feelings. Previously, we saw that he was actually touched by her mention of friendship, but Kaku knows just how ruthless Lucci can be. So for the sake of her safety, it's best if they part ways here. And with that in mind, I wonder if he feels anything at all towards the Water 7 shipwrights. If nothing else, this arc has been a firm reminder that the Cypherpole agents are still human. Over on Egghead's northeastern coast, Bonnie was admiring her new Nika-like form. Luffy was cackling away. His enthusiasm was almost as palpable as the liberating drums backing him. This look of his helped the Marines recognize him since it's the same as his current bounty poster. The Giants of Elbaf were overjoyed to see the Warrior of Liberation for themselves. St. Mars huffed while noticing the two Nikas. It didn't take long for him to discern that Bonnie was able to mimic the godly form thanks to the power of her devil fruit. The Elder launched a fierce beam attack to remind them of their place. Luffy let the others know that no matter what they try, nothing will do any damage to the monster. He's seen others like this one be cut and crushed to no effect. Luffy leapt up as a massive balloon and took the full brunt of the Itsumare's attack. And this was clearly a very painful ordeal. His plan is for them to throw him at the enemy as hard as they can. Sanji and Franky had no objections whatsoever, no hesitation even. In fact, Franky seemed pretty enthused. Meanwhile, Bonnie was absolutely dumbfounded by their plan. After hearing that, Dory told the Straw Hats that they would leave dealing with the Big Bird to them. Rogi then scolded their crewmates for dancing around like idiots and ordered them to put out the fire and get their ship moving. The other giants were shocked. After all, their captains were just dancing to the drums of liberation too. Now, the way giants love Nika reminds me of the Sentai craze in Japan. Luffy looked like an absolute menace when he grabbed hold of the Elder's wings. He told his friends to hurry up while he still has the creature in his grasp. While preparing their attacks, Sanji let Bonnie know that their captain's orders are absolute, which is hilarious coming from one of the most disobedient crews in existence. From there, the three of them prepared new attacks just for this occasion. But that does not mean they are holding back. Bonnie even has her own partially coded version of Luffy's elephant gun technique. They all hit Luffy in the back, causing him to cry out in pain. Bonnie's features leapt from her face in disbelief. She had no idea that their attacks would actually hurt the guy. Luffy just kept screaming in agony. Mars could feel the impact from the other side. Luffy made it clear that all of their attacks definitely hurt since they're using HAKI, which is very, very interesting. Out of these three, Sanji was the only one that definitely had access to HAKI. We can see that Bonnie is capable based on the appearance of her fist. But does this mean that our boy Franky has armament HAKI now too? I really hope so. Sanji told Bonnie not to hold back. Franky told her to keep going until the life has been crushed out of him. Bonnie wondered what the hell was wrong with them. You would think that they have some sort of grudge against the guy. Luffy continued to brace himself against the many attacks. To have taken this many strong hits is really impressive. A huge bead of sweat ran down St. Mars's beak once he felt the pressure. As with a booming dawn balloon, he was sent hurtling away. Luffy was happy to have given the monster the Team Rocket special and didn't expect it to come back anytime soon. It was finally time for them to leave, but Luffy wondered about the rest of their crew. According to Sanji, they were supposed to make their way down to meet them. However, they were late. To this, Atlas volunteered to go check out the situation, which surprised Sanji. Atlas knew that York was monitoring them. She thought about Lilith as she rocketed upwards. Hopefully we won't lose any more Vegapunks than we already have. Underwater, the recorded voice of Dr. Vegapunk resumed from within the submerged Iron Giant. The broadcast snail looked like it just woke up from a long night out on the town. Vegapunk said the word nothing, followed by the words, "of the sorts, that's why." So we're getting bits and pieces here. The many siblings on Whole Cake Island were surprised to see the broadcast suddenly resume. Even though their sister Pudding has been kidnapped by Blackbeard and their mom is missing, not even they would miss the broadcast of this century. They wondered what the doctor meant by his mention of an endlessly inherited aspect known as a will. So yeah, we missed a very important bit of information about the will of D. Vivi and Morgans were shocked to see that the broadcast was back on. Some people wondered if the feed was cut due to a bad signal. Vegapunk York reached out to the elders and let them know that the transmission had only been interrupted. The broadcast snail's memory circuit was still operational. To really shut things down, they would need to destroy it. The doctor could only pray that his message would be received by those who have suffered due to this will. But sadly, nobody heard anything. At the same time, Gaimon was having a great time off the grid with his time-skip girlfriend, Sarfunkel. Shifting back to Luffy, the pirate was shocked by what he saw overhead. As things fell from the sky, everyone wondered what was going on. But quickly, the Marines realized that it wasn't raining at all. It was a bunch of building bits and Cypher Pole agents falling from the sky. They absolutely needed to catch them, or they'd die. The Seraphim were recovered too. Luffy told the Giants that the big worm was spitting them out like a fountain. Dory was worried about it coming after them and insisted that they get some distance. Just then, Jupiter shifted his attention. The worm monster tried to suck the ancient ship into his massive gullet. It was undoing all of their progress. Eager to fight, Luffy punched the monstrosity with a hulking fist. His literal biggest fans eagerly cheered their hero on. A young Vice Admiral Dahl and her fellow Marines weren't so happy. This whole scene was just way too ridiculous for the Marine grunts to wrap their heads around. Then the not-so-little pig started huffing and puffing. St. Warcurdy rushed past Luffy and Jupiter and headed straight towards the ship. Luffy shouted to the others that the boar skin is really durable. The giant captains were all too familiar with the beast and frantically told their crew to get a move on. The elder leapt over the water, fully prepared to ram right into the ship. Although, I'm not sure how he'd manage to recover from something like this on account of the sea's effect on Devil Fruit users. Unfortunately, Bonnie wouldn't be much help here since being free like Nika was really exhausting. Even Luffy tends to look like an old prune when his transformation ends. Luffy reacted to something he could sense from below as Dory and Brogy cried out in fear of their ship's destruction. Then it finally re-emerged. With the fist of a colossus, the Iron Giant clobbered the oversized pork chop and even broke one of its huge tusks. And from there, we could hear from the legendary first pirate, Joyboy himself. In the past, he told the Iron Giant, Emeth, that the time was at hand. The Elder was sent back to the island. Emeth questioned what Joyboy meant by the time. Dory and Brogy's eyes left their sockets as they wondered what the hell this titanic machine was. Luffy's eyes, on the other hand, were shining like stars as tears of joy streamed from them. He was really happy to finally see the big guy in action. And so are we. This thing keeps getting cooler and cooler. Overall, this has been a great chapter for fans of robots and cyborgs. But now that Franky has access to HAKI, which Straw Hat do you think will be next? Personally, I think Black Bones Brook would be the absolute coolest thing ever. As always, I'm Botaku. Thank you all so much for watching and have an awesome day. I love you.